What's up you guys, Tomy Shaw here, and today's channel what I'll be doing is that should we expect stagflation, okay? First of all, what is it and what it does, how it happens, and where maybe we're going, okay? So that's the first thing we're looking at is what is it? Well, it's high inflation plus high unemployment, okay? This is a little bit counterintuitive because you expect that prices would increase when there's a lot of people working, a lot of people out there spending money and chasing consumer goods and services. But in a stagflation, everything is upside down. There's high inflation and there's high unemployment. So what happens is that there's not a lot of products and goods and services out there. So there's a lot of money in circulation and it's trying to buy up these items, these products and services, so it pushes up prices. The last time that happened in the US, well, it was in 1980. The 1980s was a hard time because inflation was like 15 to 20%. Interest rates were almost 20%, 22% depending on your credit. So imagine having a mortgage with a 20% interest rate. That'd be crazy in today's society, okay? Why does it happen? I already talked about there's either too much money in circulation or not enough supply, not enough goods or services. One or the other is going to cause inflation. And what you have to remember is that there's many forms of inflation. You can have asset inflation, you could have inflation in certain sectors, you can have inflation in commodities. Right now we're facing deflation in commodities such as oil prices are going down and many other, but we're having inflation in gold right now, okay? So if import slows, like say we're with everything that's going on right now with this sickness, if production becomes local, if everything that we do in the world right now, we start producing local, the prices would drastically increase. Since we don't have that kind of labor, that cheap labor that we can buy and import in the US, we need to buy at great salaries. So this pushes up prices that is sold, and people have no choice. When you have no choice to pay $25 for bread, you're gonna pay $25 for bread because you're hungry. Now, let's look at assets. Right now, the biggest thing that this could happen, if high inflation becomes a reality, high employment, is going to have a big effect on assets. We could call this a credit crunch, a contraction, but the Fed is trying to prevent that from happening, so it's injecting liquidity and it's buying equity, it's buying shares, it's buying bonds, it's buying corporate debt, it's buying pretty much everything because it knows that the market wants to contract right now. So what happens? Why is it so destructive when debt starts to contract? When we look at a balance sheet, it's comprised of debt and equity. The total amount of debt plus equity is equal to your assets. If assets go down because inflation brings interest rates higher, this brings down the value of bonds, which also brings down the value of assets. It's normal that you're going to use leverage when your asset is giving you a 7% return and the debt is costing you 3%. You could use leverage to increase your ROI. Where it becomes problematic is when the debt cost of capital becomes higher than the return on asset. If it goes up to 8%, then you have a negative ROI, which means that you essentially lose money every single year. You own this asset, you own real estate, you own whatever the product that you own, the business that you own. If it has a negative cash flow or a negative ROI, you're losing money every single year. Alright, so that's that for this video. I want to keep it simple so people can grasp their mind around it. And sometimes when we have a short 5-minute videos, I'm not talking about whole bunch of stuff. I go directly to the point so that you don't lose your time, and I really want to make these videos so that people can really understand what's going on. So should we expect stagflation in should we expect it? Okay, what is it? Well, it's high inflation plus high unemployment. It's counterintuitive. Usually we think that inflation would be high when unemployment is low, but stagflation is it's with high inflation and high unemployment. Now, why does it happen? Okay, there's two main reasons why it happens. Either too much money in the system or in the economy, or not enough supply of goods and services. If import slows, production will be local and automatically prices will increase. Now, the debt, remember, debt is good when the cost of capital, the cost of debt is very low. If you remember the formula, the WACC, the weighted average cost of capital, there's two main points to this, is the cost of equity and the cost of debt. If cost of debt goes high, your NAS value will decrease. The net asset value will go lower. So that's that for today. Remember to like, remember to subscribe, and I'll be seeing you on the next video.